The most influential theory in biblical scholarship, taught in universities worldwide, rests on sources that have never been found. Not a single page, not a fragment, nothing. The documentary hypothesis claims 4 ancient documents, J, E, P, and D, were woven together to create the Torah. Scholars have spent 2 centuries mapping these sources. They've assigned verses, even individual words, to each one. But here's the tension. It's a powerful, useful theory built entirely on educated guesses. To understand the theory's limits, start with its architect, Julius Wellhausen, brilliant German scholar. Published his landmark work in 1878, shaped biblical studies for the next century, also deeply anti-Jewish. Wellhausen described late Judaism as, and this is a direct quote, a dead tree, twisted and perverted. He saw ancient Israelite religion as pure and spontaneous, post-exilic Judaism, legalistic decay. This wasn't incidental bias, it shaped his core conclusions. Earlier scholars had dated the priestly source, P, as ancient. Wellhausen reversed that entirely. He placed P late. Why the reversal? Protestant distaste for ritual. P contains detailed laws about sacrifice, purity, priesthood. Wellhausen associated ritual with religious degeneration. If Judaism declined over time, then P, the most ritualistic source, must be late. The logic ran backward. He started with an assumption about religious evolution, then dated the sources to match. The methods themselves aren't inherently biased. Source criticism is a legitimate analytical tool. But we must understand who wielded these tools and why. Bias isn't the only problem. Now there's something more fundamental. J, E, P, and D have never been found independently. No ancient library has yielded a Yahwist scroll or Elohist manuscript. These sources exist only as scholarly reconstructions, carved out of the existing biblical text. Think of it this way. Imagine reconstructing 4 original paintings from a single collage. You analyze brushstrokes, color palettes, stylistic differences. Your reconstruction might be plausible, even brilliant, but you've never seen the originals? That's the documentary hypothesis. Educated inference, not discovered fact. Some criteria for separating sources are shakier than you'd expect. The classic marker, different names for God. Yahweh passages belong to J, Elohim passages belong to E or P. Different names, different authors. Except ancient Near Eastern evidence complicates this. Tablets from the 16th and 17th centuries BCE, centuries before the Torah's composition, use multiple terms for the same deity on single tablets. Name variation was a literary convention, not a sign of multiple authors. The assumption that drove source separation may reflect modern editorial thinking, not ancient writing practice. Repetition raises similar questions. When the Bible tells a story twice with variations, source critics see editorial stitching, 2 accounts from different sources combined. But repetition often serves rhetorical purposes. Ancient literature used it for emphasis, for structure, for theological layering. Some scholars assign individual words to different sources. The scissors and paste approach, it can destroy narrative power in pursuit of hypothetical origins. The text can be read as assembled fragments. It can also be read as unified literary art. Where does this leave modern scholarship? Scholars agree on one thing. The Torah has multiple sources. Composite authorship is virtually certain. The disagreements? Everything else. Some doubt E exists at all. The fragments attributed to it are too sparse to reconstruct a coherent document. Others argue P is actually ancient, reversing Wellhausen's reversal. Some claim everything is post-exilic, composed during the Persian period. The Copenhagen school emphasizes oral tradition that grew through gradual accretion rather than discrete written sources. The documentary hypothesis isn't a settled consensus, it's an ongoing debate where Foundational elements remain contested. This complexity offers you a choice in how to read. The analytical approach examines sources, themes, and contradictions. It asks, where did this material come from? How was it assembled? What tensions reveal the editing process? The synthetic approach appreciates the final form. It recognizes that redactors, the editors who combine sources, worked with great skill on the intended unity. When contradictions sit side by side, the synthetic reader asks, what does their juxtaposition mean? What theological statement emerges from the tension? Both approaches are valid, both reveal something true. Consider a practical example. Genesis contains two creation accounts. Chapter 1, cosmic, orderly, humans created last. Chapter 2, intimate, earthy, Adam formed first. The analytical reader sees two sources with different theologies combined by an editor. That's valuable. It reveals the diversity within ancient Israelite thought. The synthetic reader asks, why did the final editor place these accounts together? Perhaps the juxtaposition itself makes a statement. God is both transcendent and intimate, both cosmic architect and hands-on potter. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. The documentary hypothesis isn't wrong. It's incomplete. Its core insight stands. The Torah combines multiple sources from different periods with different perspectives. That insight transformed biblical scholarship and remains foundational. But the theory carries 19th century baggage. Wellhausen's biases shaped conclusions that persisted for generations. The sources themselves remain hypothetical, useful constructs, not discovered documents. And the criteria for separation? Some rest on assumptions that ancient evidence doesn't support. Good scholarship means knowing the limits of your tools. You can use source criticism without treating it as infallible. You can appreciate what the documentary hypothesis reveals while acknowledging what it can't prove. Hold both lenses, see the themes and appreciate the tapestry. Understand the sources and hear the unified voice. The text rewards both kinds of attention.